trying to fall. So if this shit falls while I'm going live, just know I can see that it's trying to fall, but I'm trying to prevent it. I just don't know how. But hey, it's me, Shalothy60. How are you? So we are back, and we were talking about K-pop things. And as you can see from the title of this live, what is going on right now? Like, seriously, what is going on right now? I want to say, not last week, but the week before, at the end of my talk about the albums, I talked about Kim So-hyun and just basically the whole fucked up situation with Kim Se-ron and how he ruined this young lady's life. And between that period in time and now, apparently his PR team is banning like whole Reddit threads shut down and getting people banned from Discords, and like a bunch of stuff is happening with that situation. It is not resolved. He has turned around and decided to sue the YouTuber who came up with the evidence of him grooming this girl, because the parents are successful in suing the YouTuber that defamed their daughter, and he's promised to sue the parents. I don't know how he expects that to gain him public sympathy, but I just chalk it up to me not understanding Koreans. Like, straight up and down, I don't understand a lot about Korean culture. I don't know how promising to sue the parents of a dead girl gains you favor. I don't understand how you show up to a press conference crying your heart out and you're wearing a fucking wig and makeup. Like, that shit's wild. Also, to be an actor who's known for how good you can cry in a show and then put on like literally the exact same performance, and you were in a show called Queen of Tears, like, peak camp, high camp. But no, he's a lying sack of shit. He did that shit. I'm feeling very confident in saying he did that shit. There's nothing that he has presented that could change my opinion. I believe he totally took advantage of that girl. I think he's a liar because he lied. He literally lied. He admitted in his press conference that during Queen of Tears, he lied about having ever been in a relationship with this girl, and then turned around like, oh yeah, I was, but like I lied because I'm a superstar and I didn't want to affect my career. Do you know that is the worst sounding excuse? That is the worst sounding excuse. It would have been better for him to say, I lied about it because I was embarrassed because she had a bad reputation and I didn't want people to think badly of me. That would have been like at least legitimately honest, because she did get arrested for DUI. And so I can understand him being like, she was caught drunk driving. I don't want people to think I'm associated with a drunk driver. Even if the things that she was saying weren't true, I just didn't feel comfortable having my name put with hers while I'm running the show. But instead, he's like, I lied, even though she was telling the truth. I lied because superstar So-hyun can't be associated with things like this. Calling yourself in the third person a superstar makes people hate you. Like, that's another thing. Like, the people on his team should have never let him read a script that has him referencing himself in the third person. You should have been complete I statements the whole time. It should have been, I as a man, I as a this. He could have even said, like, we got together when she was an adult. However, because of our age difference, I felt embarrassed. That would have been totally fine. Not that he would have been telling the truth then too, but like, if you've already admitted you have lied in one instance, it is very hard to win back the trust of a public who's like, okay, you told us you lied, so you're a liar. But yeah, fuck him forever. I will never watch another fucking thing he's in. I hate that he has soiled the memory of Dream High for me. I hate that he has soiled the memory of the moon embracing the sun for me. I hate that he has soiled the memory of so many other things. My Love from Another Star. Yeah, fuck him forever. For real, for real. But we move on. But that's only been part of what's been going on in K-pop and K-pop adjacent news. Probably the biggest things to happen are Kiss of Life, the YG leaker, and the president being kicked out of office. That's fun. And China, Japan, and Korea all agreeing fuck the United States, and how that is literally blowing up the entertainment business as we speak. So I was gonna go to a BL fan meet in Denver. I had total plans to do it. I hadn't bought my ticket yet because I'm a last minute ticket buyer unless I'm buying in a bigger market. Denver's not the biggest market in the world, but like Los Angeles, Dallas, New York, these are bigger markets, and usually you need to buy your tickets ahead of time because it's hard to get a ticket the day of. But with this BL fan meet, it's Gemini 4th from GMM TV. It would have been easy to get a same day ticket or a same week ticket at least. I'm not going. And I'm not going because of other issues with that fan meet, but it did highlight one big issue. It's getting hard for entertainers to get visas to come into the United States to perform. People are getting detained on their way in and out of the country because they may have expressed opinions against President Trump during their private freedom of expression. And so, yeah, FK Twigs, I think she is abandoning her tour plans for the United States. And there's going to be a whole bunch of other people, K-pop and otherwise, who are not going to be coming here. And so, because of that, I'm not surprised that we are losing a lot of entertainment because we have an administration that doesn't seem to understand when you start locking up people from countries who have traditionally been friendly with us, then they're not going to want to risk other citizens of their nations to come here, especially if you're searching phones to see whether or not they've ever talked poorly about our presidents. Like, are you serious? But I digress. But yeah, I am I'm very disappointed in that. I'm very disappointed in that. I feel like Taman coming to the United States, what, a month ago even, that's probably not going to happen again. Onu might not come back again because who knows? Our immigration services people might arrest K-pop idols because Korea has used tariffs against the United States. Like, I could totally see that happening. As for people who are in fandoms, good luck, you bitches, because these tariffs mean that your K-pop albums are about to cost twice as much as they have in the past. If you paid 25 before, you're paying 40 now. That's what these tariffs mean for you. So, yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. It is a fucking nightmare. I almost want to stop because it's very frustrating to me. It's very frustrating because I live in a collective. Because the United States is a collective. It is the United States of America, which means I don't get to live my life based on my decisions alone. I live my life based on the decisions of the people in power around me. And even though I did not vote for things to turn out this way, here they are, and I'm living in the consequences of it. But the things that could maybe bring me bright spots in all of this, those are all being stripped from me too, because they're going to become prohibitively expensive, are straight up prohibited because they're not going to be allowed into the country. So yeah, it's a whole time to like anything that's not built and bred here in America. But again, I digress. All right, let's talk about the president. The president of South Korea was deposed. He went in front of their constitutional court and they voted 8-0 to get him the fuck up out of here, as they should. He tried to basically take over their government and frame all of their liberal politicians as North Korean sympathizers. And it is fucking wild to me that he did that shit because he could have done things that are reasonable. He didn't have to do that. He barely got voted in as president, and he voted himself in on a stream of anti-feminist sentiments in South Korea. He could have just stuck in that lane. He could have just stayed right there. But instead, he decided, oh, well, all they care about is that I hate women. They don't care about the fact that I love Japan or any of the other fucked up shit I'm doing. However, it's not enough that they love my misogyny. They're not voting for senators and other Congress people who support me. Therefore, I'm just going to lock all the people who don't agree with me up and frame them for treason. Like, literally, that was the plan. I don't know if y'all read everything, but he literally had declared martial law, had tried to close the parliament building that would have allowed lawmakers to overturn the declaration of martial law. And they found evidence, or at least it was rumored there was evidence, that he was planting information and was going to kidnap certain members of the Liberal Party and plant items to make it seem like they were working with North Korea to take over the South Korean government. Which, again, fucking wild. But he's out because South Korea, unlike the United States, they've seen themselves have a hostile takeover before and they weren't going to let that shit happen again, so they stopped it. America, I guess we haven't had the opportunity to have a blatant hostile takeover before like this, so we're just like, let's see what season 2 brings. But yeah, enough political stuff because, again, like I said, you have to laugh to keep from crying. So I'm not going to talk about that no more. Let's talk about the YG leaker. I don't know who this person is. I did not participate in any of the discords this person was a part of. I really don't know what the fuck their aim is or what they're getting at. What good is revenge if nobody knows who's getting the revenge? But they leaked a bunch of trainee videos. And they were trainee videos and aborted music videos from the girls who should have been in Blackpink. So they actually had like what the full Blackpink lineup was supposed to be. And so you can see how it got whittled down. Some monthly evaluation videos of the girls. And in several of those videos, a lot of the girls are doing American songs that contain the word nigga. And I can say it because I am Black. Let me just be very clear about this. Anybody being like, I can't believe you're saying the slur. I am a Black person, and Black people, we say this word to each other. And so I'm using my privilege to say that word. Don't let me hear you repeating it if you're not one of us. But there's a lot of songs that are part of Black culture, especially hip hop, rap, R&B, that use that word. Because again, like I said, it is a word we use amongst ourselves. And so, there are songs that have the word, not in a slur type of way, but more in a style type of way. And the girls, several of whom either were raised in international schools or were raised in English-speaking countries or had at least significant exposure to Western media, were singing or rapping songs that had the N-word and they were not bleeping the word. Now, do I think that these girls would have ever said that if they thought that these videos would ever see the light of day? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Blackpink, since they debuted, has not had a scandal like this ever. In terms of saying the N-word, hadn't happened. But Lisa, Rose, and Jennie. At least I think it's Rose. I'm pretty sure it's Rose, but it might be Jisoo. Don't let me. I know for sure it's Lisa and Jennie at least. Caught saying the N-word. Jennie, it is particularly galling. And if it is Rose, because like I said, my memory could be flawed. If it is Rose, it is particularly galling. What's galling about it is the fact that Jennie knows better. Because Jennie has been exposed to international schooling. She has a great grasp of English. She knows better. Rose should absolutely know better because Australia. You should know better. CL's father ran an international school. She went to an international school. She should know better. They should know better. But I'm sure that the excuse will be, even though YG hasn't made a statement and no one made a statement, the excuse will be, I am Korean, therefore. That will be the excuse. I am Korean, therefore. And there have been so many K-pop fans who literally been doing somersaults and backflips trying to be like, well, they're Korean. And besides, does everyone who says the word nigga, are they racist? Yes, bitch, yes. It's a slur. It's a slur. If Asian people call themselves something, I wouldn't call them that. There's a book called, what do I call it? This Face. I don't even feel comfortable saying the name of that book. Written by an Asian author. I don't feel comfortable saying the name of that book. Because it's a slur. However, if you are a part of the group that the slur is about and you call each other that, you're welcome to. I actually spent a lot of time living very close to the border of Mexico, and there are Latin people who live in the United States, and they use the term water rear. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not supposed to be on camera saying that word. They called each other that. That's fine for them. I'm not doing that because it's not my place. I am not a part of that group. So when you use a slur that a group calls themselves within their group, but they acknowledge that anyone outside of their group using that phrase is out of pocket, you are racist using that slur. No matter what your intentions are, unless you had never heard that language before, this was the first time you've heard that phrase and you had no background for it, you're not supposed to say that shit. You're not, and definitely record labels who are like YG, where they expect and demand an international presence, they have to know they cannot have their idols on camera saying this shit. If there's nothing else, they should have somebody called a risk manager at every fucking record label called the risk manager. And they're supposed to review content to see, is there anything in this content that is risky? Should we edit out certain words? Should we not talk about certain topics? Just because, again, if you're only going to be in Korea and you never plan to be anywhere else but Korea and you're not going to promote anywhere else and that's just the only place you plan to be, say whatever the fuck you want, I guess. Because definitely Korea's not going to call you out on it because Korea loves racism. They love blackface. It's fine. But if you are like, we're making a global group, we're building a group that's going to promote on several continents, you have to respect those several continents. But again, I'm not Korean. I don't maintain that I understand their culture in that way. So I digress. But probably, honestly, probably worse, in my opinion, than finding out that multiple members of YG were caught on camera saying the hard N word. Kiss of Life. Kiss of Life. God damn you, Kiss of Life. I talked about Kiss of Life on my list of albums here, and I had pretty good things to say about Kiss of Life. And I've enjoyed a lot of Kiss of Life, and I was an early proponent for Sugarcoat. Julie of Kiss of Life had a birthday party. They decided to do an Instagram live. They recorded it. They live streamed it. And it was an old school hip hop party. They decided to all pay homage to old school hip hop. And girl, what is you talking about? Click, click nails. Look at me and my chains. Look at me and my fitted. Bell, little Taco Bell. I don't understand. I'm just going to say, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. There's no need for that. Why you would make that the concept of your birthday party, why you feel the need to broadcast that, why you as a group know that some of your earliest followers were Black K-pop fans who were like, here's a group doing R&B well in a way that feels authentic. Why would you then alienate that same group and be like, by the way, you know what's fun? Cosplaying as Black people. And you know what's even more fun? Cosplaying as stereotypes of Black people. That is a birthday party theme, bitch. You could have done a party about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. You could have done a party about marshmallows and unicorn. You could have done a party pretending that each of you was one of the members of Sex and the City. There are so many different themes you could have came up with for your party. This didn't have to be it. Hell, you could have decided to be members of a group. That would have been beautiful. You could have decided to be like the old school members of Destiny's Child. Who's going to be the Beyonce? Obviously, the birthday girl. Like, there's just so many other things you could have done. You didn't have to do this. And that y'all did this not in private as well. You did this not in private, but you're like, you know who would really get a kick out of the fun we're having, ladies? We have to invite the fans. Somebody cue up the Instagram. We need to invite the fans. Like, choices were made. Choices were absolutely made. And, you know, it's always tough being a fan of anything when you're Black. let me not even qualify that statement. It's such a hard thing being a fan of anything when you're a Black American, because either you feel excluded or you feel stereotyped. Like, you always feel like there's something wrong a lot of the time, especially when you're a Black woman. Like, when you're a Black woman, God, it tenfold. And so we work really hard to have open minds and open hearts. And we try to be like, okay, just because bad things have happened in the past doesn't mean bad things will always happen. We try to be like, okay, let's give this a chance. Let's be fair. Let's not make future groups of people pay for the sins of the past. You know, there's so many times when like I've been like, I don't even know if I should ever listen to another group from YG, because YG always has issues when it comes to stereotyping, when it comes to appropriation. But then I'm like, no, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it a shot. But the older I get, the more I kind of want to be like, you know, maybe I just don't need to like anything. Maybe I just need to like Tibetan throat singing. Maybe that's where my interest should be, because people always want to do you fucking dirty all the time. And I just I can't abide. I can't abide. It pisses me off. And so, as far as I'm concerned, I don't plan on talking about anything having to do with Kiss of Life again on my channel. If I'm still doing the reviews of the best K-pop albums of 2025 in 2026, if they're on that list, I'll have to talk about it. But outside of that, I don't plan to spend any of my actual energy voluntarily listening to their shit, paying attention to their shit, liking any of their shit on YouTube. I'm donezo with that. I'm really donezo with that, especially because they did the thing that everyone fucking does when they get in trouble. The company put out a statement saying, we're sorry if you misinterpreted or felt hurt by the things that you saw. We'll do better in the future. Being completely vague, making sure the members are not taking responsibility, making it a company issue all the fucking time. It's never, we did some fucked up shit we shouldn't have done. And this is what we did. And this is what we're not going to do ever again. It's never that. It's always, the company would like to apologize for anyone who might have felt any hurt feelings over what they saw the other day. Not even saying what it is. Just like, this vague thing happened and some people might have been upset, but we're sorry. Us, the CEO, and other people who are not in the room and didn't do anything about this. You know, it's funny that companies can apologize for shit like that, but when their idols are being bullied or being terrorized or stalked or injured, they can't seem to fix their mouths to open it up to say anything. But when their artists do something that genuinely is offensive, all of a sudden, the company is sorry that you feel as if something bad had happened. We hope that your mind changes in the future. Thanks. I'm so over that bullshit. I'm so over that. I'm so over that. But yeah, I won't be talking about Kids of Life. I really don't give a fuck about what happens with them. Cry. The YG leaker, in addition to showing music videos that Blackpink never released and practice videos, they had a lot to say about other labels. They didn't come with any receipts on any bullshit from other labels, but they did have a lot to say. And one of the things they said that really struck me, because it's something I believe, but they didn't need to say it, is they wanted to make sure they told everybody that Rapmon is gay. And yeah, I think Rapmon is gay. I've even said as much on my channel. I remember when he came back with his little picture of him and his friend that he put the emoji over the face, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's the boyfriend that he quit talking about a year ago. They're back together." I've done that. I've done that for sure, but I have never represented myself as someone who is in RM's inner circle. I've never represented myself as someone who would know the tea on BTS or Rapmon or anyone involving that situation. I've always come at it with, I am a delusional stan girl, and I have ships that occur in my mind that literally don't exist anywhere else. Like the love triangle I created between Dean, Zion T, and Crush. Like literally doesn't exist, but in my mind canon, totally a thing. Even though at least two of those men have dated women pretty prominently. But yeah, there's always hope for Dean. I have said it from completely like, I don't really know. We're all just having fun here. These are jokes. To have anything against YG and deciding you're going to leak information for YG, but then turn around and do the job that a YG employee would do, which is to shame other groups, and have something to say about RM sexuality is incredibly tacky, is incredibly weird, is incredibly rude and distasteful. Like, the worst you could say about this man is he might be in love with another man. Like, that's literally not even a bad thing. But you know that misogyny and homophobia are the bane of many a man's existence. So that was the insult, was to tell people that RM is gay. And it hurts my heart because there are a lot of gay idols out there, a ton of gay idols out there. And a lot of these gay idols, honestly, are never going to come out because they understand that Korea is a don't ask, don't tell type of situation. They don't mind having the flamboyant men who have been single well into their late 30s and have never even been rumored to be with any woman on their television shows laughing King. But the minute that it becomes too real, all of a sudden it's like, ooh, get away, we can't have that. That's the way it is there. So Ratman could have gone well into his 40s, not saying anything about his romantic status, and would have been able to be successful. But if anyone takes it seriously that he might be gay, it could ruin the rest of his career. And, you know, I started liking BTS as a stan for Rapmon. He was my bias, and he still is kind of my forever bias. When it comes to music, like, definitely he is somebody who I think I share the most in common with in terms of point of view and taste. But he's also somebody who has a really hard challenge in front of him in terms of a outside of BTS career. Rapmon doesn't produce music for other people. He doesn't really write much music for anybody but BTS and himself. And last year, when we had Jin, J-Hope, and Jimin all putting out solo projects, Rapmon's project was the worst selling project out of the bunch. And it is the one that I think the fans dislike the most in terms of like people who are buying because they're BTS stans deciding to buy solo stuff. Like, it was a project that people who like hip hop really, really enjoyed, but it wasn't a project that BTS stans felt like supporting, honestly. And so he's facing a challenge in that he doesn't do stuff that fits fandom mold. He doesn't do things that are necessarily even popular in Korea. And so him being the leader, he's kind of the perfect leader for BTS when you think about it, because in order to be an effective leader of a group, you kind of have to be somebody who's okay with not being everyone's favorite. Like, I think of Suho, I think of Onu, I think of those members of groups who are like, Yeah, I'm nobody's favorite member of the group, but I'm a really good leader for the other people because I'm not self-conscious about that. And I think Ratman is that way. I think he understands he'll never be as popular as Jungkook. He'll never be as popular as Taehyun. But he is somebody who understands what they're going through and can be a sounding board for them. And he can put his ego aside for whatever is best for their group. And so, him having to deal with the pressure of my presence could possibly be bad for this group because people, when they look at me, they're like they're looking at a homosexual man. I just think that that's really bad taste. I don't care if he likes dick or not. Hell, I like dick. We can like it together. But for that to be some of the venom of this supposed YG leaker, you suck. You really fucking suck. Yeah, we're all glad to know that the trainees of Blackpink said the N word, but that aside, you fucking suck. You could have done so much more with your energies. If you really wanted to be the people's hero, you should have broken into the SM vaults and released all of the demos of songs that SHINee never got to release. You should have released all the demos of Jonghyun songs that we never got to hear. Like, you could have been a real live for real hero by just leaking media that people want, leaking that whole 2NE1 album that none of us got to hear, leaking all of the videos we never got to see, like really leaking the shit that we wanted that has been rumored for years and everyone says exists but never really got put out there. Leak the fucking Crystal and Jessica collab album. Those are the things that you could be doing that would make you the people's champ. Those are the things that you could be doing that could make you everybody's hero. But instead, you want to make sure you use as much slander as possible. And the thing is, unless Jennie, Lisa, Jisoo, Rose, unless those people did anything personally to you, how are you getting your revenge on the label? By directing heat and fire against these girls. For real. Because I don't know about everybody else, but as far as my memory is concerned, CL's not signed to YG. She's only affiliated with YG to do projects for 2NE1, but she's not signed to YG. Most of the Blackpink girlies are not signed to YG. So you're just hurting them because supposedly you hate YG? Make it make sense. Seriously, make it make sense. So yeah, that whole racist bullshit was eventful. Another side note, I'm not a fan. I like an album. I may like another one soon, but I'm not a fan of ENHYPEN just because I don't pay attention to them. Not because I think there's anything wrong with them or I think there's anything bad. I just don't pay attention to them because life is short. I only have so much time. I can't listen to every fucking group in the world. But can someone please explain to me why all the members seem to hate one member in particular? I guess his name is Sunu. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but apparently the internet is convinced that all of the members of ENHYPEN hate each other, but they hate this one person in particular. And I would like to know, why is that? What is going on? What tea am I missing? Because the videos are hella awkward. They're hella awkward. And I'm just like, okay, so did he fuck one of your girls? Did he try to hit on somebody in an awkward time? Like, what is going on? Why do y'all hate this man? Seriously, why do y'all hate this man? So, yeah, if someone could explain that to me and the rest of the people in the waiting room, because we don't know. We are not sure. Uh, and then finally, probably the biggest thing to happen that I don't mind talking about, but I kind of am sad to talk about it, honestly. Wendy and Yeri have left SM. That's it. Now, Yeri, her leaving SM, I get it because half of the time SM treats her like she's not there. And I think if I felt like as much of an afterthought as Yeri, I would be gone too. I would be ghosted. Like, I remember Yeri debuting with the group after they had already put out like what 3 singles, something like that, and like, oh yeah, by the way, there's 5 members of this group, and I'm like, this is super awkward. And then like when they debuted her, they didn't even make it seem like she had any kind of special skill or talent, which is like, the group's not complete until we get this girl in the group. So I'm like, okay, I guess. But then even after that, every member of Red Velvet has gotten a solo except Yuri. I think she's had like a song or two, but in terms of like having a solo album, when everybody was doing their solos and everybody's solos were kind of like the same size. If you had them on your bookshelf, they were all the same size. It was so cute. Yuri never got. Never got. And so, yeah, I could see why she'd be like, I don't like being fat shamed. I don't like being grief shamed. I don't like being shamed, full stop. I'm leaving this fucking label. Because for those of you who don't remember the grief shaming, let me tell you about that. Uh, Yeri was a fairly young idol when SM debuted her with Red Velvet. Not that long after Red Velvet debuted, Junghyun passed away. And she went to the funeral. And she had a very emotional response to Junghyun's funeral. And then in the subsequent press run after his funeral, she looked sad on the red carpet. And netizens tore her in half. They were like, how dare you have a sad face when you're supposed to be an entertainer and entertain us? How dare you show emotion at someone's funeral when a funeral is a place where you need to be dignified and not cry? How dare you be human? And then after that, it was like, your butt is flat. You're not shapely. You're not skinny. It was just constant criticism from day forward on. I can understand why Yuri's like, I'm getting the fuck up out of here. Fuck you. Fuck your mama. I'm gone. In fact, Yuri, the day before they announced it, was like, guess what, guys? You're going to hear some news tomorrow. And I just want you to know I love you all. Don't be concerned. We're doing what we need to do. So she didn't even let SM have that. But Wendy, on the other hand, Wendy is somebody that not only am I not surprised she left SM, but she should have left SM probably 3 years ago. Wendy is the cornerstone of Red Velvet. There is no Red Velvet without Wendy. I mean, Seulgi could do, but Red Velvet is Wendy. Wendy is the vocal key. She is the Taeyeon of Red Velvet. Full stop. And Wendy has had a lot of criticism. Some of it due, some of it not due. Some of it from her stereotyping the black people she remembers from America. That shit was rude. Some of it from the fact that she had the personality of a goldfish early on in her career. I literally saw her live at the Hollywood Bowl. Very uninteresting in person. And some of it was looks. People criticized the way that Wendy looked. They criticized her body type. They criticized her face. And so Wendy did not have the easiest time being the leader of Red Velvet and trying to, be the vocal cornerstone and be what she needed to be for this group. But she always approached the work with a smile. She always approached the work with enthusiasm for the project. Even when the stylist fucking hated Wendy and put her in the ugliest clothes during the Reva Festival. My God, the thing they put that girl in during the Reva Festival. She still tried really hard to make this shit happen. And then the SBS Gaia Dejan rehearsals happen. And this bitch literally falls off the equivalent of like a 3-story building. And I say bitch nicely. I say bitch like friend, not bitch like I hate you, bitch. But she falls off what is the equivalent of a 3-story building. Gets very, very hurt. Very, very hurt. Red Velvet has to go on a group hiatus for, I want to say, close to a year. Like, she's in big recovery from this fall. SM never sued. Wendy never sued. They still did promotions for SBS. Nothing happened. It was swept under the rug and it was back to business. And then Wendy started changing. And I think we could see her changing. Wendy lost a lot of weight. Wendy got super fit. Wendy did touch her face. Like, her face is dramatically different than it used to be. And I know there's a lot of people who's like, when you notice somebody's had plastic surgery, if you mention it, you're body shaming. I'm not mentioning it to body shame. I'm just stating a fact. Wendy's face looks dramatically different than it did. I remember when the teasers came out for not the song, not this last comeback, but the comeback before this comeback. Can't remember the name of the song because SM has given them bullshit for songs. Anyway, during that comeback, I remember seeing the teaser pictures and being like, "Who is that girl?" And then being like, "Oh, this is Wendy." And I'm like, "Oh, oh, she looks very different. Who is this?" But Wendy was changing. Wendy was changing, and it seemed like Wendy was like, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to play good girl games. I am tired of the critiques. I I really just need to be me now." The whole being a good sport about it, being the company man, I'm not interested in that bullshit no more. I'm being me. I'm doing for me. I'm doing me now. And so Wendy should have been gone a long time ago. For her own sanity, for her own mental health, for her own pride and self-respect. But yeah, I'm proud of her for finally doing for her what needed to be done for her. And I don't buy K-pop anymore, and with inflation and tariffs and everything else, it'll probably be a really long time before I buy K-pop again. But whatever project Wendy releases from here on out, I'm gonna make sure I at least give it one listen on the old Spotify because I'm just glad that she's finally doing something for her because she came so close to literally losing her life in that accident. Seriously, losing her life. And to be with a company who basically was like, business as usual. Oh, by the way, we've got some new young girls and we're going to be giving them all the premium things we normally used to give you. Yeah, I would be done with it as well. I would have nothing to say to SM anymore. I would basically tell them to eat my whole entire ass and then kiss it on the way out the door. So, Wendy, I wish you the best of luck. Yeri, I hope you find something for you. I really do, whether it's acting or art or songwriting or singing, whatever it may be, or maybe just falling in love and having a family, whatever it is you decide to do from here. I wish you the best of luck because honestly, we were never really given an opportunity to see the full context of Yeri's talent because again, SM didn't give us that opportunity. They debuted her in the worst way. They debuted her in a way that made her seem like fucking leftovers. And who is excited about leftovers? So yeah, those are all the K-pop things I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of people that are on the list of albums that I have been going through who are having comebacks. Tin just had a comeback. Good for him. J-Hope just had a comeback. Good for him. A lot of people are having comebacks right now. So I'm excited for everybody, and I hope everybody has a wonderful and productive future, except for the YG leaker, except for SM as a whole, and except for raggedy mouth bitches who talk shit about people because they don't have anything better to do with their lives. Fuck them. Thank you so much for allowing me to dribble on and also for letting me have a break because I did my whole album spiel just a moment ago and then I took a 10-minute break and it seems like y'all aren't here to talk about music, y'all are here to talk about gossip. I get you, I feel you, I am you, I understand. So thank you for joining me while we just pretty much shoot the shit with each other and talk about all these raggedy bitches out here. In the meantime and in between time, I love you all so much. I thank you all so much for watching my channel. And then on a personal note, let me tell you a little bit about my vacation. So, me and my daughter went to Rocky Mountain National Forest. We stayed in a place called Estes Park. It's a beautiful little sleepy town. We went on a tour of the Stanley Hotel. If you're familiar with the book The Shining that Stephen King wrote, he wrote The Shining after staying the night in the Stanley Hotel, and they have a Shining tour you can take. We took that tour. We went to Arches National Park, which the picture from the thumbnail for this video is one of the pictures from Arches. We went to Canyonlands, which is very impressive. If you like the Grand Canyon, you'll love Canyonlands. We went to Mesa Verde, which is such a huge historical national park for America because it has cave dwellings. Literally, back in the kind of almost prehistory days, Native American tribes built houses on the sides of cliffs and they lived in whole communities in the sides of these cliffs. It's super amazing. I cannot believe there's still remnants of these communities for people to see and to walk through and experience that life. And America is such a beautiful place. Like it's so saddening to me that one, our president is wanting to sell off federal land from around these national parks to private interest in order to fund paying back the deficit, even though all the shit he's doing cost us more money than we've ever spent. Um, and he is whittling down the Forestry Service, even though the Forestry Service, all it does is make America money. And people who can't come to America and enjoy what we offer the world, because our national parks are the thing we have to offer the world. We offer the world our culture, but in terms of the land, if you could see our national parks, you would understand why America is so large and why America keeps people here, because we have huge trees and huge valleys, and we have mountains, and we have dormant volcanoes, and we have these beautiful natural arches made out of rock over millions of years, and we have tall mountains, and we have beautiful blue water, and we have nature trails that go on for miles, and we have rivers and streams. It's a beautiful land. It's a stolen land, but it's a beautiful land. And I wish that other people could enjoy this land the way it's meant to be enjoyed. And there's a good chance you never will, either because you can't get here or because it's going to slowly disappear. So, for that, I am sorry. And I thank you all for your time. Take care. Bye bye.